Hi, welcome back. I'm glad you could join me this week. We will continue with Psalms 1 through 3. Very exciting study last week. That excitement will continue this week as well because we're still with Psalms 1 through 3. On yesterday, Saturday, I went out with a team of folks and we did some land navigation. So we went out in the woods, unfamiliar territory, and we basically moved from one location to the next throughout the woods. We had 6 different points, which points were made up of grid coordinates. So it's like moving from one address to the next throughout the woods, and then back to your original, to where you began. And so that was the challenge. Very important to be able to create your address or plot your points to get to where you need to go. If you made any mistakes there, you'll end up in the wrong location. So very important to have the right information. As we set out, our first point was not a point we found at all. It was just a spot on the map. And so we wasted probably about 30 minutes going to our first, 30 minutes going to our first point. Finally, we realized, this is not even a point on the map at all. It's a spot. So eventually we got on the right track. But, the information we started with was very important to get us to where we needed to go. And I've been looking at Psalms 1 through 3. Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the way of the sinner, nor sits in the seat of the scorner. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law he meditates day and night. And he should be like a tree planted by rivers of water that brings forth its fruit in its season, whose leaf shall not wither, and whatever he does shall prosper. I was thinking about how the information that we began with wasn't really the right information. Someone thought they plotted this point, and it ended up not being a point at all. And we wasted about 30 minutes. Sometimes we can do that in life. We don't get the right information, the right counsel. And that's the scripture kind of starts with that, making sure that we get the right counsel. Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, or, counsel that's not wise counsel, advice or instruction. The source we're getting our information from is very important to getting to where, we want to go in life. And we can waste time not getting the right information from the right source, not getting the right counsel, not getting the right instruction from the right source. And so, sometimes that happens. And this scripture really brings out that in order to become like a tree, a tree, it says, is planted, a tree that's planted, not just any kind of tree, but a tree that's planted. I got to thinking, I might want to get advice or counsel from someone who's already like a tree, who's already planted or established in their purpose, and established in the will of God for their lives, in the work that God has given them to do, established in their careers, established in their marriages. These are the individuals I might want to think about getting counsel, instruction, advice, direction from. Those that are already planted like a tree, that are established like a tree. As Psalms 1 through 3 brings out, a tree that's planted by the rivers of water, a tree that's receiving the nutrients that it needs to be fruitful. Fruitfulness speaks of maturity. And so this tree that's planted by the rivers of water, that's established and that's fruitful, is a tree that's, as we said last week, it's a tree that's producing for others, not just itself, but it's producing and helping others. So this is probably the type of information, individual that we want to get information from, that's already established, that's mature in their faith, mature in their walk with God, and mature in their careers, mature in their marriages. We might want to think about, getting information, counsel from these type of individuals that are already established. They're receiving what they need to receive from God to carry out, their purpose, their mission in life. And so these are individuals probably that can provide some pretty good information, pretty good grid coordinates and direction, so that you can get to where you need to go. So I thought about that, and that was so exciting. Like, man, this really ties in What the land navigation exercise really tied in with the word for today is just making sure we go to the right sources for the right information to get to where we desire to go. So I just want to encourage you this week. Hopefully you got something out of this week's talk about just making sure that we receive the right information from the right source, so that we can become like trees planted, and someone can come to us then and get wise counsel one day. As young people, we sometimes get information from our friends, our peers who maybe are not established yet. Like a tree planted, they're not established in their careers, they're not established yet in life, and we get information from our peers, and we end up in just delaying our blessings, delaying where we're trying to go, until we eventually realize maybe some of these older folks, maybe some of these more established people in life, maybe they do know what they're talking about, maybe they can help me, so maybe I ought to listen. So that's what it's about, becoming like a tree planted, established, because you've basically followed wise counsel. Pretty simple. Hope to see you next week. God bless.